Yo, welcome once again to Becoming Dope, which is all about sharing my journey as a photographer into the world of filmmaking. My name is Tayo, and today we'll discuss 3 things that great photographers put into practice right now that will help them become even greater cinematographers and filmmakers. And we're going to reference 2 of my favorite shows that masterfully uses these things: Queen Sugar and The Handmaid's Tale. Let's go. You may not realize it, but if you're a photographer and are dabbling with the idea of filmmaking, believe it or not, you have a pretty decent head start. Cinematographers are, after all, directors of photography. The fundamental difference is that instead of the look and feel of a single frame, you're now responsible for the look and feel of multiple frames in a sequence. Once the images you create start moving, a completely different set of challenges present themselves, but well-practiced principles of photography give you a great starting point to deal with those challenges. Let's take a look at 3 of those principles to get you further on your way. Number 1. Composition. At the end of the day, what lies within the frame is all that matters. It's what we want our audience to see, and it's how we imagine them seeing it. As a photographer, you hopefully already pay close attention to what's in your frame, bringing focus to your subject story and balancing the rest of the frame to support it. The same techniques you use in photography apply in filmmaking: leading lines, rule of thirds, depth of field, and symmetry. So keep these principles in mind when building your filmic visions. Many noteworthy examples of great composition can be found in Ava DuVernay's epic drama series Queen Sugar, which was shot beautifully by cinematographers Kira Kelly and Antonio Calavache. The show is visually stunning and is truly representative of how great composition can turn an image into art. Number 2, exposure. So in photography, shutter speed, aperture, and ISO are all technical and creative tools that we use to dial in the perfect exposure for our images. And cinematography is no different. There is one additional and absolutely critical exposure tool that is needed when shooting video, and that's filters, particularly ND filters and polarizing filters. ND stands for neutral density, and I have no idea what that really means. All I know is that it allows you to achieve a proper exposure with your lens wide open and at slow shutter speeds. It's an absolute must for shooting video outside. What's interesting about shooting film is that your shutter speed is generally fixed for the duration of your film. There'll be some instances where you're planning a slow motion shot where shooting at a higher shutter speed is required, but generally there will be a baseline that doesn't change, which leaves aperture and ISO and filters at your disposal to control exposure. I mean, the reason you really need ND filters is because you're shooting at slow shutter speeds of 1/50th of a second for a cinematic look or 1/60th of a second for more of a TV sitcom video look and feel. Quick sidebar. Oftentimes in both photography and film, there is a desire to shoot wide open and with a fast lens. Both of these terms refer to aperture. Wide open refers to the aperture setting that lets the most light in, and a fast lens has a wide setting, usually an f or t-stop between 1.2 and 2.8. One of the desired characteristics a wide open and fast lens creates is shallow depth of field. It helps to give focus to your subject by blurring everything that's behind them and in front of them. The Handmaid's Tale is another favorite show of mine that demonstrates this really well. Cinematographers Colin Watkinson and Zoe White creates an intimacy between the viewer and the characters on the screen. It gives you the perception of being kind of in their space and closer to where they are, both physically and mentally, and I think they do an absolutely amazing job. Number 3, lighting. I often say lighting is everything because without light, well, you got nothing to see. So lighting is really important, and great lighting gives depth and dimension to your images. And oftentimes it's where the light doesn't fall that adds that sense of mystery, space, or emptiness, or even creates focus for your subject. In photography, you often use natural light, flash, or a combination of both, but in video, you'll use a combination of natural light and constant artificial light. Both Queen Sugar and The Handmaid's Tale use light in masterful ways. I mean, I could literally turn off the sound and get lost in the visuals alone. Direct light, diffused light, reflected light, lights with different color temperatures, and even the absence of light are all used effectively in the images that these cinematographers have created. Now, there's likely more that you're doing that's going to come in handy as you begin to consider shooting video, such as what you've learned producing your photo shoots and directing your models and staging your scenes. I mean, use everything that you already know, as it can definitely translate in some way. I myself still have much to learn, but in the meanwhile, I'm loving the process and the journey and will continue to share it with you. So that's it for now. Hit that subscribe button, share your thoughts in the comments section below, hit the thumbs up once if you like this video, and hit the notification bell for my next and upcoming video. And until then, stay dope.